Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to do a deck profile on my updated OTT Stride deck with the new introduction of the G Guardians to the game. So with the new Fighters Collection cards, I was lucky enough to pull enough of the Core Elemental stuff and two of this, so I'm able to use it without any issues because it's not one of the ones that bases its effect off of the number of itself that's face up. It just needs to persona flip itself. So I can essentially use it once per game, and it's kind of really all that's needed because OTT does have a whole lot of different Stride units to go into now, depending on a lot of situations. So the Stride deck functions more like a toolbox, kind of like with Gear Chronicle. So this is basically the updated deck. So right now I feel like in terms of the competitive OTT, Magus is still kind of like one of the better builds. There's right now there's really like the witch build, which would use this with Coco and where's this card here, Cuckoo and Coco, but that one I don't know, like I don't really like that one that much. There's also Susano and whatever the backup would be, whether it's Coco or whether he's teching with Magus or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of Susano myself either, although this is in my CEO Amaterasu deck, so that's become the Oracle based deck. But anyway, the Magus one I feel is like the most fun one to play, and it's not GB restricted either, which I like, so they can do a lot of their plays mid game and gain an advantage that way. So 4 of the Pentagonal Magus, she's the best Vanguard for them. She was a promo, and then she got reprinted as a secret rare in set 5, I believe, whenever Magus got their support this year. So yeah, set 5. She's the best one, so you got to play 4 of her if you want the deck to really... I mean, mainly because she gains 5k in a critical with her Limit Break skill. If you declare the top card of the deck, you reveal the top card of the deck after declaring it, and if you get it right, she gains 5k in a critical. She also has the main phase effect of a special counterblast 2 Magus to gain 5,000. So if you really try to go all in, you already kind of know what your opponent has in their hand. If they don't have a perfect guard, you can go for that to make it harder to block. So she can essentially swing 21 with critical plus the boost or whatever. So still, like, the main one you want to ride is this, like, to win most of the games. But a good alternative is Floral Magus. Floral Magus works really well with the Stride Globe Magus, because on the turn that you use Glow Magus, on the next turn, if you can't Stride, you will already know, assuming you blocked all your opponent's stuff, you can use this to basically get that card to your hand during the main phase, so you can fetch whatever you want. So she's pretty good, but a lot of people don't really like her. They don't really run her. I've seen a lot of Magus decks running 4 of this card, Ring Magus. Ring Magus is good because she has Vanguard and Rearguard effect. She's a common, really easy to get. She came out in set 5 back when Pentagonal got reprinted and all the other new Magus stuff came out. But anyway, she's pretty good because she doesn't have to hit, and that's what I like. So yeah, I can see the appeal of running like more of this than Floral, but I still like the Floral has the main phase skill to fetch cards to the hand, so it's more... this one works during the battle phase. If you declare that card right, you put it in the hand, and this unit gets plus 3k. So it can form 14 with 7 behind it is still pretty good. So 2 of this. So 9 grade, there's another 9 grade 3 deck. People are probably like, you're the only guy on YouTube that runs a lot of 9 grade 3 decks. It's usually because I just choose not to run the Stride enabler, and the main reason behind that is that I actually have the decks like this one that are running all 4 copies of my Stride enabler. So, and these decks really, they run fine. It's worth noting that, again, these are not GB restricted decks, so they're not 100% reliant on Stride the way GB based decks are, or Stride era decks are. So they have a little bit more wiggle room there in terms of what they can do in the early and mid game. Next, 4 Stellar Magus, really good, one of the key Magus cards, and then 4 Silent Tom just to make the deck a lot better. Again, he's not GB restricted, very good card from back in the day, still really good. And then 3 Rhombus Magus. This card is actually really good with your stride, your Globe Mega stride. She can form 21k columns very easily. So basically, when she attacks, regard effect, when you have a Magus Vanguard, you declare the card on the top of the deck. If you reveal it and it's right, then she gets 5k. So this becomes 14 with a 7 behind her. She's pretty strong. So 3 of that. For grade 1s, 4 Tetra Magus. It's the Magus one. You gotta run the Magus one. Not really, but I do. 2 Circle Magus. Just in those turns where, let's say, you strode like this or something, and you want to see like what it is. It just gives you more ability to look at the top card of the deck. Like it works well with Floral. It can also work with Pentagonal. So it's pretty good. At 2 copies. This deck, I built my deck very much like my Link Joker one. It runs a lot of 2 ofs in the grade 1 lineup. So 2 Circle, 2 Cone. This is your unflip. This is basically like Zinc from Chaos, from the Chaos deck. And then 2 Octagon. She is just gives them a little bit more defensive power. If you don't want to run this, I can see myself running either like a 8k vanilla to help out Silent Tom, or you can run Stride Enablers in place of this card, but it can potentially be a 15k shield, but maybe one of this is enough. I rarely see myself using that card. And then 3 Crescent Magus. This is the 9k boost, so because of Crescent Magus, you don't really need to run the 8k vanilla with Silent Tom, but the 8k is more consistent. So, but Crescent Magus does work amazingly well with helping Rhombus hit 21 easily, because this can bait out the card. Again, it helps with Pentagonal Magus. So 3 of this, really good. And then the trigger lineup is just the 12 criticals. So 4 of Dive Eagle, 4 Psychic Bird, 4 Parsley Magus, she's Magus, critical, and Lozenge Magus, the Magus Heal. And the starter is Semi-Lunar Magus. So none of this stuff's GB restricted, so works very well for the most part. For the Stride deck, it is interesting. So I'm running 2 Lord of Guidance Wakahirume. So 2 of her I feel is enough. If you want to run 4, go ahead and run 4 if you can obtain 4. Not too hard to get. This card's not that hyped up, but it's still pretty good new stride unit they got for Fires Collection, I would say. I do like it. I'm just glad I pulled 2, so didn't bother getting any more because I don't really have any space for any more. So the one time you stride this is pretty good. And then 2 Globe Magus. I say people keep saying they need to run 4. No, I think 4 is too many. The stride deck is basically a toolbox. You're gonna stride this no more than 2 times per game. You need to go into some other stuff. But this is still a pretty good unit. 2 of allows you to stride it twice, which is good enough in my opinion. Then 2 Camu Susano, just because it helps power up the field. Relatively good with Silent Tom. This is really good with Silent Tom as well, as shown in the show. And then next, one of the good ones. One of their earlier strides, 4 Sword Deity of Thunderbreak, Take Mikazuchi. So I just, for some reason, had 4 of this, so I'm just still running all 4 of them. So it's the one that Persona flips on 2nd or higher stride. So 4 of it's fine. If you only run 2, you only need to run 2, then you can run like 2 more of her, or 2 more of this. But I like this more than him because he has the hit. So this is my on hit out of the better strides. But then I also do have 1 9-headed Dragon King and 1 Kirin. These don't find myself going to these that often, but they're just in there just to be in there. And then I am running 2 of the Ichibiyoshi. In Magus, it's pretty good, but this card really works well in Susano, because you're able to get so many cards to hand easily. But in Magus it does okay. You just have to have 3 or more cards. 3 or more. If they said like 4 or 5 cards, then it would be kind of lame because you have to drop a heal just to bring this out. So I'm glad they made it like 3, so that's pretty good. And then the only 2 other spots, I am running the one Screw and the one Dismal. Like I said, these are kind of situational cards, but they're still relatively good. Especially this guy at protecting a rear guard, and also this guy has resist, so it's pretty good against certain decks like Dimension Police or something, or even Kagero, sort of the Legend or the Great. So anyway, guys, that was my updated OTT deck. Let me know what you think. How OTT is, if they're super competitive, not super competitive, but like if they're pretty solid, particularly Magus. So looking forward to your comments, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.